Welcome to episode 1 of the REI 360 show, the only real life show that's going to talk about real estate, business, marketing, and a heck of a lot more. My name is Jason Balin, sitting next to me is Chris Haddon. And you know what? We're going to have a heck of a lot of fun here today.
The idea for the show, guys, is we thought that this would be the best way for us to put our top content, our most quality stuff out to our community of clients and fans and friends and everyone else, related to what we're doing in business, what Hard Money Bankers is up to, REI 360, that whole tech side of things. As this whole little world of ours grows, we thought we had some cool stuff to put out there. We thought this would be the best format for it.
Absolutely. So a little bit about both of ourselves, in case you don't know us. Hopefully you do, but if you don't, Chris and I actually went to high school together. Grew up in Montgomery County. A little bit after high school and then after college, we realized we had some similar mindsets, and we were dabbling in real estate, flipping some properties, doing some rentals, some stuff on the mortgage side as well. And then about mid-2000s, closer to 2007, we actually ended up starting Hard Money Bankers, which was a private real estate lending company. We thought it would be, we thought we brought a lot to the table. We had a few private investors that wanted to put some money on the streets. We also had a lot of real estate investors, including ourselves, that wanted to flip properties, and we thought we could roll it out successfly.
Yeah, if you remember, around that time, we were looking at a couple different business models. Around the time we were leaving the 9-to-5 job, and we had about a 5-year run, probably maybe like 23 to 28 years old,
sure,
working the corporate job and just kind of learning the basics of everything that was going on and figuring out what we wanted to do. And I remember we were looking at doing real estate buying and selling full time. We considered doing a residential mortgage company. Glad we didn't go that route. But we did look at that as a potential model. And then we settled on hard money lending as what we thought would be the best for our skill set, how we wanted to run the business, the actual just, the metrics, the profit and loss of what the model looked like. And glad we did. I mean,
Absolutely.
7 years later.
And it started small, just like any other business would do. I mean, we were super stoked when we would close one deal. I remember our first deal we closed, we didn't have a formal business entity, we didn't have a bank account. We actually took that check, made out to Hard Money Bankers, went over to Bank of America. They were like, well, you need a business entity. So we're like, oh yeah. So we went down to SStat, which was in Maryland. We followed the business entity, then we were able to deposit the check, which was $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000. We're like, cool, now we're in business. Now we can start doing more deals. And it kind of just snowballed, up through the day that we went from 1 to 2 to 3 deals a month. And looking back, it was interesting because when we were doing 2 deals a month, we were stressed out. I was answering every phone. we were busy. I was answering every phone call that was coming in. Chris was handwriting checks. It was just the two of us. So we didn't have we didn't have support staff, we didn't have help. We were kind of just fumbling through it. But I feel like we did learn a lot from starting this thing from scratch and, working our way up.
For sure. I mean, that's our startup story.
Sure.
Is, some people start in mom's basement or in the garage or whatever. Ours is in the back of a title company. We rented a little space.
I don't even know if we paid rent. I think we're just like, hey,
I think we paid a few $100 a month maybe. And that was it. Like Jason said, like we were trying to run the whole show, getting web marketing going, getting everything else, getting the word out to people that we knew in real estate, which probably wasn't a whole lot of people at the time. I mean, it started slowly, but it did start right away. You know what I mean? When we put the word out that we had money to lend, that we had some capital to put out as a hard money lender, we did get leads. And then, you start working through the numbers game of realizing in hard money lending, most of those leads aren't even close to being a good deal.
Sure.
But, over time it did snowball. It moved along pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the name of the game is taking action with something. I mean, there's not really that many, bad business ideas as long as you're gonna you're passionate about it and you're gonna run with it. It works. And that's what we did. We found the need for the marketplace. We realized that there was a lot of demand for capital in our local, real estate market. I mean, the good thing is we knew the DC market and we also knew the Baltimore market, so we had a lot of clients to go after. And as we we were kind of forced to learn, and we were forced to grow from scratch. We really didn't really have a choice. This was our full-time gig at the time. So that's
we had quit our jobs. We had no more paycheck.
And through this venture, we learned a lot of things, anywhere from marketing to growing a business, raising capital, underwriting loans, just from, one kind of niche business model in general. We learned so many trades just from experimenting and seeing what worked and seeing what didn't work. And that was, made us able to transition into some other business ventures that we're involved in now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, part of the reason I would say why our company had the trajectory that it did, I mean, of course, it's a ton of work, like anything worthwhile is, but we came in at a good time for a couple reasons. One is that, we started lending in late 2007, early 2008, so about 7 years ago now. And if you were in business in real estate, especially around that time, real estate had just tanked, and the economy and the stock market and everything else was going down with it. And we come along, in our 20s, raising capital, starting to put some loans on the street, and it was a very difficult time to do that. It was a good time because you start at the bottom of the market. Sure. I mean, it's got nowhere to go but up. But of course, like the emotions, the sentiment about real estate at that time, it was, both like an easy time and a difficult time to get started. Worked out well and has grown since, but also at that time, it was when web marketing was really getting going. Social media hadn't really started yet, besides maybe like MySpace or so. And we were, partially a function of our age and just, what we're into and tech stuff. Like we rolled right into the web marketing where our competitors had not.
Exactly.
We had a decent website. We started learning the basics of SEO, getting some organic traffic. We started building an email database, and we became much, much better marketers later, but we were kind of first on the scene in the local, in DC, Maryland, Virginia, in terms of lenders. We were one of the first on the scene doing that web marketing stuff. And we jumped out. We got a nice jump on our competition because of that. And other people caught up later on, but that's okay. It's good to be, first on the scene in anything. And also we just kind of stood out because we were the next generation of hard money lenders. Most of them were older guys, sometimes attorneys. They were, our father's age. It was it was literally the previous generation and all the stuff that comes along with that way of doing business, and we stood out. We're in our 20s.
Yeah, I mean, we were younger. We were a hell of a lot more ambitious. We were ready to take over the world when we started. I mean, and really it was, it worked out great because, like Chris said, I mean, most of these guys were just older guys that maybe had some money available, friends and family, some of themselves, some of them were attorneys. No one really had like a formal operation. It was maybe a one-person shop that had some money they wanted to lend out, or they maybe had, an assistant or something that would help originate deals. And we came in and said, let's turn this into, a real solid business, and treat it like a business. Do actual marketing. Like if you ask me the question of like what's the most important thing that I've learned in business so far, it's marketing. I mean, marketing's everything. You don't have a business unless you're marketing. I mean, you don't just start a business or set up a retail shop and expect clients to just come into the door. It's not going to happen. They're not going to come in the door, and they're not going to come to your website unless you do some sort of marketing. So real estate's just the product that we sell or the service that we're involved in. Marketing is truly what we're involved in day to day in order to grow the business. And, in our space of hard money, there was nobody marketing. Most people didn't have websites. The ones that did have websites were, old one-pager, kind of like informational-only websites. Just, maybe, they felt like it's just to build credibility. They had something up there. But, we kind of took that to the next level and said, let's try to mold the online and the offline space together, kind of blend everything, because all of a sudden it kind of just turns to a powerhouse. And to this day, if you kind of sneak into one of our offices and see what we're doing, it's most likely marketing or kind of higher picture stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, marketing, business building, like the whole stuff that you don't really realize is your job when you get into any business, really.
Exactly, and we didn't know that at the time either. We
thought we were in the real estate business.
Hey, we created an entity. I think that was probably our first entity or one of our first entities. Yeah. We created an entity. It's like, yep, here's my business entity. I'm in business.
Yeah.
And then you get a rude awakening of, okay, just because you started an LLC or a corporation doesn't mean you have a successful business, dummy. I mean, that's just not how it works.
That's a good takeaway from show number one, is that having a business entity does not mean you have a business.
Yeah.
So that's something
it's very different.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing that people do learn when they get into, I mean, it could be anything, like, you know, a restaurant, it could be real estate, it could be being an attorney, that, you know, your trade is your trade, and you're an operator, and you're an expert in a certain thing, and that's cool. That's the 101, though. That's not really what makes a successful organization. And you find yourself, in addition to a lot of other things, you find that you're in the marketing business, and you didn't intend on being in the marketing business.
You better go and learn marketing. Which
some
is
people
fun.
don't accept it.
They
Some
don't.
people just resist the fact that, you know, a good portion of your responsibility as a business owner is to bring business in.
Exactly.
Right.
And I mean, you can equate this to online and offline. I mean, you could be, and I guarantee that some of the best products, the best chefs, the best at their trade, nobody even tastes your cooking. You know, it doesn't matter how good your cooking, it doesn't matter how good your product or service is if nobody gets to try it or nobody gets to do it. I mean, you could have the #1 restaurant ever in the middle of wherever, nowhere, and if you don't have anybody coming in, what's the point? I mean, you're literally just throwing it away. So it's important to understand that, you know, you need clients in business, and you know, marketing does that. So unfortunately, you got to accept it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like a bad thing or a negative thing by any means, especially today. I mean, this probably isn't in the scope of our intro to the REI 360 show, but content marketing and people putting out quality stuff in order to attract people to their company is a great thing. It's an awesome thing for the consumer, for the you know, your average web user out there. A lot of what you're seeing is not like ads thrown in your face necessarily. I mean, there's still ads, obviously, and we run them, and I love ads. But putting out quality content, good videos, writing good blog posts, stuff that make people want to come your way is where marketing is going. And that's what people should be focusing on regardless of what business they're in, is like take your best stuff and put it out there. It's the whole reason for what we're doing now.
Exactly.
On that note, you want to talk about that the hard money bankers into REI 360 transition, how that whole thing, how we went from real estate business into tech business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So over the last 7-8 years in business with hard money bankers, we realized that there was just a lot of leads, a lot of opportunities, a lot of followers that we had that we just couldn't help through our lending platform. Either they didn't qualify, or they just didn't have a deal, or just weren't ready to.
Maybe not even our area.
Yeah, maybe not even our area at the time. So we're like, there's got to be a better way. So what we did was we kind of expanded and we created REI 360. And what REI 360 is, it's a membership site for real estate investors that want to learn more about real estate investing. There's tools that we've created in order to make investing in real estate easier. There's also a community that we have, a community platform that we have, so people can share deals. They can, kind of grow with each other. Instead of kind of using us as the only resource, they can use other local people as a resource. And it's worked out great so far. There's been a lot of deals had because of that.
Deals between REI 360 members. Like
exactly.
Everything here at the meetup that we do.
Exactly. It was a good way, and also on a lending side, it was great to kind of, someone might not be ready for a hard money loan or even to invest in real estate. Maybe they just are new to it. So it's get yourself into the membership, the membership site. Learn a little bit more about it, educate it, come to a free training that we have in our office, learn about it, and as you grow, hopefully we can do a loan for you. And that's kind of where it's at. I mean, real estate investing is it's a popular topic, and we love real estate investing. I mean, that's just what we do, and it's not just on the lending end. We do buy and holds. We do buy and we flip properties as well. Like we're involved in management companies. I mean, we have a lot of involvement in real estate, and it's we've met a lot of really cool people along the way. I mean, and we have 50 people in our office once a month that come to our monthly invitationals for REI 360. Countless people that hit us up on the web or over the phone or whatever to reach out. So we've met a lot of cool people. Some of the guys that have money, that sometimes they want to lend money. Sometimes just guys that flip properties. So it's a rewarding industry.
Yeah, that's kind of where this whole evolution of our companies has gone into. Like Jason was saying, we started out just dabbling in real estate with some of our own properties. We made a formal lending company, trying to really grow it, make it professional and solid organization. Branched off into the tech stuff. Again, we didn't realize we were getting in the tech industry.
Yeah,
but,
it wasn't the...
Yeah, and how that came about, actually, we were making training videos, and making tools that we were just giving away to potential clients. Again, like I was saying, that content marketing, putting our best stuff out to the world to attract people to our company is really how REI 360 was born. After a while, we realized we had a bunch of good stuff. We had training videos and content, this tool, that tool, good enough to charge for, good
Sure.
enough to make into a formal business and a site, to pay real programmers and designers to help improve it over time, which is still going on every day. And that, okay, so we have the offline, obviously real estate is offline, and the online aspect of how people are communicating and the blend of what's going on between online members, offline clients, everyone coming here, coming into the office, streaming the trainings live online, the monthly meetup we mentioned. So it's become this kind of wild blend of online, offline, real estate, tech, marketing stuff, and it's really cool. I mean, we're still figuring out what it all means and where it's going, but it's a really fun time. That's another reason why we wanted to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also realize that, you know, you give value to someone, you're going to get value back. That's just what happens. I mean, if you go on any one of our websites, there's, you know, deal analyzers, free trainings, whatever. I mean, we're, you know, the more we can give, you know, we know that we're not exactly sure how it's going to come back, but it'll come back.
Well,
that's just
it's
what
going
happens.
somewhere.
So there's, you know, the more value that you have, you know, that you can provide to, you know, if you're a business owner, that you can provide to some of your clients, you know, I promise you it's going to come back at some point.
Yeah, and looking forward into what we have planned for the REI 360 show. We're going to be doing more interactive type stuff. We're going to be taking questions beforehand that we'll get from social media, from Insta, Twitter, Facebook. On any one of those, you can use the hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag the REI 360 show.
Hashtag the REI 360 show. Our team here will be looking for those questions by using the hashtag, and we'll be answering members, clients, just really anyone involved in the community online. We'll be answering questions on the show. We have some interviews lined up, so we're going to interview some cool industry people, still figuring out the tech and everything else, how that's going to work, split screen, you know, from people who aren't physically going to be here. And I think we're also going to do a topic for each one. We're going to pick one thing to really drill down on. Is that right?
Exactly. And you know, some of the guests will be local in studio with us. Some guests, you know, we'll patch in. We'll figure out how to do that. But some of the topics, it's not just real estate investing. You know, business, marketing, finance.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
like the whole thing.
entrepreneurship, stuff like that. But it'll be some really fun stuff, and you know, we're looking forward to it. And you know, again, go to, you know, hashtag the REI 360 show. You know, we're gonna have a heck of a fun time here. And thank you for following us on episode 1 of the REI 360 show.
See you next time.